Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there's been an update in Call of Duty Warzone that has added in so many new things. And with a new update, there's always changes that are going to make you play a little bit different. So today, we're going to be hopping in and diving deep into the settings that I have on my game to help me play as well as I do, and maybe even something that can help you get a little bit better and win more within Warzone. I know a lot of you guys ask me every single day, Expel, what are your settings? What are your keybinds? What do you use for your FOV? I don't understand what any of this means. What are the words that are coming out of your mouth, Expel? What is it? Ladies and gentlemen, today we hop in and we talk about every single one of those, and hopefully this will help you guys out. If you guys enjoy, if this is useful to you, please do me a favor. I'm begging you, please God, drop the video like, subscribe to the channel. We are working our way to 200,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of the year. So please help a boy out, please. Just do that. And twitch.tv/Expel if you want to check out the streams. I love you guys. Let's go ahead and hop into things. First things first, we're sitting here in the menu, okay? This is on PC. Yes, if you are on PlayStation, don't worry. Don't worry. A lot of these settings are going to be useful for you as well. So make sure to stick around. But we're going to start things off and we're going to go to our options tabs. We have our mouse and keyboard stuff right here. This is going to be one of the last things we go into because it's going to take so long. So I don't want you guys to have to sit around, but I do have a lot of settings that I think you guys are going to find useful. But let's go ahead and just start at I don't know, controller. Controller, a little bit different. I mean, I don't use a controller, but if you want to copy these settings, you're more than welcome. These are just the settings that I used normally whenever I used a controller, just randomly throughout streams. I think I used one on a charity stream. So this is what I've got going on. The BR button layout is going to be regular. Default. We have disabled for vertical look. Dead zone. You are going to probably want a dead zone if you're using something like a scuff, because those just break constantly. So, hey, scuff, good job. Hey, I don't want to be sponsored because that's ridiculous. How is this not? Anyway, also, horizontal stick sensitivity, we got 6. We got 6 on the vertical. We got low zoom at 0.56. You can really just put that to 0.5 and then this to like 1.5. It really does help. I like the low zoom whenever you have, like, you know, a regular assault rifle. You're going to be zooming down a small amount. It's going to help you stick onto the target with your aim assist. So make sure to set that at 0.5. But with high zoom, you are going to have that sniper and you want to be able to flick around and hit those shots when they start moving. And you don't want to get stuck on the character, or at least behind the character. So that's why I have it a little bit higher. We have linear on the response curve type. A lot of people set that to dynamic. It's entirely up to you and whatever works for you personally. Always on controllers, turn off your vibration. That way your thumb isn't moving a little bit whenever you're playing. That's going to be massive for you guys. Aim assist, we have standard. Scale aim assist, we have set to disabled. Okay, disabled. ADS and melee is going to be how I mount my weapon. I'm going to literally just let you guys see this. Feel free to pause the video if you need to for the rest of all of this. This right here is a big deal. Armor plate behavior. Make sure to set that to apply all. You can do that on PlayStation, Xbox Series, whatever the new ones are. I don't know. I play on PC. Then we have apply all on that. The rest of this is entirely up to you. Automatic sprint. I usually have that set to automatic tactical sprint. It's entirely up to you. If you're using shotguns, you want to make sure you have that disabled because it'll mess up the way that the shotgun works in your hand. So make sure to set that to disabled. Moving on to our audio. This is a big deal for a lot of you guys. And you ask me, hey, Expel, what's the deal with your audio? Why can you hear people and I can't hear them? Are you cheating, son? No, I'm not cheating. I just have good headphones. So how my audio setup works, I have these headphones. These are the Bose QC35 Mark IIs. They're my favorite headphones, but I don't have a microphone to go with it because I have this that I can use in game, okay? So for you guys, I would recommend something like Astros. I personally don't like Astros, but a lot of people live by it. It's just not my thing. I feel like I can't hear anything compared to these. I personally just go with something that has the best audio quality, even if it's not meant for gaming. In fact, I wouldn't recommend anything for gaming. So I stick with these headphones. I hear Sennheiser has some great ones. So stuff like that is going to be really good for you. But audio mix wise, we have boost low. A lot of people in the comments are going to be like, hey, Expel, you're an idiot. All right. You're stupid. You're dumb. You should be using boost high if you want to hear footsteps. No, I don't. Boost low is bassy sounds. You want to hear those bassy sounds. And when they're running, it's not like tap, 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 tap. It's like tap, 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 tap. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So we want to use boost low. That is what I use at all time. Now, you can set your master volume to whatever the heck you want. I've got mine set to 50. It's up to you. I just keep mine at 50. If I'm recording videos that I have to hear my teammates, I pop that SOB down to 30, and it fixes everything. But I keep it around 50. We've got music. Turn that all the way down unless you're a freak and you really love hearing music, but turn it down. Dialogue volume, we have set to 25. That's going to be if I want to hear somebody flying in. It's going to say, enemy dropping into the AO. We're going to set that to 25. That way we can hear it, but it's not overwhelming. Effects volume, we have to set to 35. I don't know what that is. Juggernaut music, please God, turn that off. Hit marker sound effects. A lot of you guys are going to already have this on Modern Warfare. I recommend setting it to classic. Much better. Next, voice chat enabled. This stuff really doesn't matter. If you're having issues, I recommend setting this to system default device and like in your settings on your PC, fixing that. And then I have it set to push to talk. If I'm playing random noobs, duos, or whatever, I set it to open mic. Now, moving to the rest of this, it's entirely up to you how you set it up. But personally, down at War Tracks is passenger disabled. War Tracks volume, make sure that's turned down all the way because I hate hopping into a car and hearing like do 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 do. It's annoying. It's really annoying. Stop that. Turn that off. It's just stop. I get it. It was cool for 3 seconds when they added it in. I'm tired of it. Stop it. Moving on to graphics. This is another big one. This is a really, really big one, and you need to pay attention to every single second of this. Someone's going to immediately look at this and be like, Expel, what's going on? What's going on? Why are you in full screen borderless? Ladies and gentlemen, as a streamer, I cannot set it in full screen. Otherwise, it breaks my recordings, okay? So I have it in full screen borderless. For you, personally, if you're not streaming, I recommend setting it to full screen. You're going to gain 200 billion frames from it. No, you're going to probably gain about 10 to 15, maybe 20 frames just by setting it in full screen. You're not going to have any issues with like screen tearing, stuff like that. So make sure to set it in full screen. I highly recommend it. Personally, you can see that I have the RTX 3090, so I don't have any issues with losing some frames here and there because no matter what, I'm going to be above my screen refresh rate, which is 144, which in all reality, it's actually 120. Don't tell. Moving on. Render resolution is set to 150. The reason why is because 100 is not technically the correct render resolution for some reason. I don't know why it's broken, but the display resolution is 1440p anyway. So that doesn't matter regardless. And then moving down, aspect ratio, automatic. We have VSync. Always turn that off unless you're Raresy and you really can't deal with screen tearing. So turn that off to turn it to disabled. Custom frame rate. Make sure that's set to unlimited. We've disabled, this is all going to make sure that you run a little bit better. So NVIDIA highlights, disabled. NVIDIA reflex low latency, this is going to make it to where you can click on your enemy faster. Your actual reflexes are going to seem faster because it's going to show you where the player is faster. So you want to make sure to set that to enabled and boosted, okay? Moving down, we have texture resolution. This is all my stuff. I'm going to tell you guys what you should personally have this on. I have it set to normal. I recommend you set it to low. I have this set to normal. I recommend you set it to low. This is just depending on your PC. I have a ridiculously like $6,000 PC. So please keep that in mind. My settings are going to be different for you. So just listen to everything that I say right here. Particle quality, set that to low. And bullet impacts and sprays makes no difference. I have it enabled. Tessellation, I have that set to near. I recommend you guys do the same, but you can also disable it. It doesn't make a huge difference. I just like having it on for the sake of content. On-demand texture streaming, disable it. I don't know why this is a thing, but it will break your game. It'll break your game. It has to me before. I don't know if they fixed it, but I highly recommend just turning it off so that you're not having any lag whatsoever. Streaming quality is set to low, but it doesn't matter because it's disabled. Shadow map resolution, I have mine set to normal. Set yours to low. Cache shadow spots and sunspots and all that. I don't know what I just read. I have both of these set to enabled. This is going to make it to where it runs a little bit more flawlessly while using a little bit more RAM. If you have 16 to 32 gigabytes of RAM, you should be fine to enable this. If you have 8 gigs of RAM, maybe disable it. It's entirely up to you, but I recommend enabling it if you have the ability. Particle lighting, I have that turned to low. I don't find that it makes a difference in game, so I just make sure to turn that to low. DirectX ray tracing, we have set to disabled. This is going to make it to where you don't lag at all, basically, because ray tracing is, for some reason, in this game. I know it looks pretty, but it's just pointless. Ambient occlusion, disable that SOB. I don't know. I don't even know what it does, But disable it. It's not worth it. Whatever it is, just disable it. It looked like the shadows are a little bit better or worse or something. Just disable it, okay? Screen space reflection, disable that thing too. Not really useful. Anti-aliasing. This is gonna, listen, you guys have watched Iceman Isaac's videos. I know you have, so don't play with me here. Iceman Isaac has his sharpness in the NVIDIA settings turned up all the way. You don't need it. You don't need it, okay? Just go to anti-aliasing. Turn it off. It'll make it sharp and your game won't look like crap. It's crazy. It'll blow your mind. You don't need to turn up your sharpness in the NVIDIA settings. This will fix it. So anti-aliasing, turn it off. Depth of field, disabled. Get that turned off, you freak. Filmic strength, turn that off as well. World motion blur, disabled. Weapon motion blur, disabled. And film grain, all gone. All of it. It's all gone. Ladies and gentlemen, them right there, that's my graphics settings. All right? Important that you pay attention to these things because this is going to help you to keep your frames high. All right. Moving on to general settings. Sure. Apply that. Moving on to general settings. Let's talk about some things that make a big difference here. Number one being field of view. This is a big deal. I know a lot of you guys are playing on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, whatever they're called. And I'm sorry. Okay. But a lot of people say Expel. How are you running so darn fast? I don't get it. How are you so stinking fast in this game? PC players run faster. Oh my God. It's not true. We just have FOV. It just looks that way in videos. Hop into a game with your friend that's on PC and watch him just run the same speed as you if he has the same weapon. 120 is my field of view. And this actually, believe it or not, is going to make you more accurate as a PC player. I know that sounds weird, but there's a reason I say that. Depending on the sight that you're using on your gun, it will bounce less. I know somebody in the comments is going to freak out and be like, I told you guys PC players are cheating. No one cares. You 67-year-old man that's never walked out of his basement, you little freak. It's not really true, but sure. It helps. It does help. It's going to help you be a little bit more accurate. If you want to go see the data on this, go to True Game Data on YouTube. He did a fantastic video of this a while back. I highly recommend checking it out. The ADS field of view. Now, let's look at the difference of this, and I'm going to explain to you why I use affected. Once again, this is an accuracy thing, okay? I personally use affected because if this right here, I believe, is independent. Yeah, so it's going to make things look a little bit weirder, like it zooms in on the map, like on your screen, and that kind of makes it to where your aim is just a little bit off compared to what it should be. I recommend you set it to affected if you have the ability. Brightness is up to you. I like to stick with 50% just because it looks best on my monitor. Heads up display, set it to 100. I don't know why people don't set this to 100. I guess like they don't want to look super far, but I guess they're playing on 42-inch screens. I don't know, but set it to 100 unless you're on like a 65-inch TV, and then you can set it, I don't know, as low as you want. I don't care. It's up to you. But I'm just saying, I personally set it to 100. Skip is obviously off. Tooltips are disabled. Subtitles disabled. Colorblind type is disabled. I'm not colorblind, so I don't have any issue like that. When we get to HUD, you want to make sure your mini-map is set to square. Ladies and gentlemen, set it to square. It is important that you do this. You get much more surface area. If you look at this, you can see the big roundy is cutting off a crap load around the corner. So make sure to set that to square rather than circle. Mini-map rotation, you want that set to enabled. It's up to you. I just personally like it enabled. Compass cardinal direction text is letters. It's helpful. And you can say west something instead of just like 270. You can say west 300 so that they can get there faster. I think it helps a little bit for callouts. Then the rest of this is like I disabled text chat because mostly it's just people saying obscurities. Dismemberment and gore, I have that enabled. The rest of this I just have disabled for the sake of content. I have this enabled. That way whenever I press a button, you can see in the top left, Matt, zoom in, that it says mute sound enabled. That's useful for me for the sake of my chat. For some reason they still, guys, how do you not see that sometimes? We need to talk about it. All right. Now we get to the important things. I'm sorry, this part is going to take a little bit of time here. We have our keyboard and mouse settings. Let's go ahead and start at the back. We'll work our way forward. Menu navigation. Actually, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to basically just go through it. You guys can copy it. I don't want to sit here and explain anything to you. If you want to copy it, you're more than welcome. A lot of people are going to say that they don't like my setup. I have my mouse and keyboard settings. They are set to what is comfortable for your hands, or at least for my hands. Look at the size of my hands next to my face. This is how big my hands are. If your hands are this size and you're new to PC gaming, I recommend these settings. It'll be a pain for every other game in the future because you'll have to change it to fit this, but it helps me a lot to set things like this. So menu navigation, all of this right here, just let you see it. I'll let you see it. Make sure to pause it if you need to. Pause it wherever you need to. There's your menu navigation. We have our overlays and shortcuts. Our scoreboard is going to be set to hold. Map behavior set to hold. Map cursor enabled. Inventory hold. System key behavior I have set to operating system. I recommend you just turn it off. If you're playing on mouse and keyboard, set it to game. Unless you're a streamer, I use it, like I said, with full screen borderless so that I can go to my other monitors and be able to do things while I'm playing. So it is a little bit helpful for me. Show scores. All right, so once again, I'm just going to let you guys copy whatever you need to copy. So let's start here. Moving down. There you go. Moving down. And this is the last little bit right there. Just copy it wherever you need to copy it. Vehicle camera recenter is disabled. That is super weird whenever it does that. I don't know why. It is very, very wonky. I highly recommend just setting it to disabled. Armor plate behavior is once again set to apply all. And the rest of this entirely up to you, but I'm going to show it nonetheless. Here we go. Feel free to pause if you need to. We're going down to here. Pause if you need to, ladies and gentlemen. And we are past it. All right. Everything's right there. Pause if you need to. Now, this is where things are a little bit more weird. This is where I'm going to have to explain things to you. So, depleted ammo weapon switch. I highly recommend that you have that enabled just so that you don't sit there and try and shoot an empty gun. Switch weapon minimum delay. You want that set to 0, 0, 0. That way it's instant. Weapon switch wraparound. I don't even know what this is, but oh, like when you scroll, it'll. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Instead of like pressing 1 and 2, you can just press 1 over and over. That's how I do it. That way I don't have to use multiple numbers. And then weapon mount activation is ADS and use. It's entirely up to you. This is just how I like it. Weapon mount movement. Absolutely want to turn that on. So if you need to get out of somewhere, you can do it a little bit quicker. Hold is going to be your aim down sight. You don't want to have that set to toggle. It's going to screw you over. Change zoom toggle behavior. We just have that set to the first one. And then we have equipment behavior is set to hold. Now let's go ahead and check out the rest of this. Here you go. We'll start at keybinds for the weapons and equipment. Feel free to pause if you need to. Pause if you need to. Moving down. Pause if you need to, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this last one. Get the advanced right there. All right, moving on to movement. Slide behavior is going to be set to tap. We have tap on the slide behavior. I like to do that just so that I don't have to sit there and hold it. You just tap it, switch to the next key that you can use. Crouch behavior is going to be set to toggle. It's going to keep you crouched. You don't have to sit there and hold circle on your controller or on your thing. You sit there and hold shift or control or whatever it is for you. Prone is set to toggle. I press one button. I can move that finger back to where I need it. Airborne auto mantle is turned off, but it still does it. I don't know. I have no idea. Sprint tactical sprint behavior is set to toggle, which is pretty dope. You don't have to sit there and hold it or press it over and over. Automatic sprint is disabled again. I would keep it on automatic tactical sprint for the sake of your plates, but you don't really want to do that if you're using the R90 shotgun. As of now, I just have it disabled. Doesn't make a difference. Parachute auto deploy. Keep that disabled, ladies and gentlemen. Highly recommend you keep that disabled. The reason why that I say that is because it allows you to get closer to the ground. You might die a couple more times, but what's another 33 seconds of your life? Hold the use. Turn that to disabled. You want to be able to tap things as you're running by, pick it up so you don't have to worry about it instead of sitting there and being like, I gotta hold this for a second, because then you get into a bad situation in the middle of a gunfight. So keep it on hold to use. Now let's go ahead and check out all of these keybinds right here. Here's your movement keybinds. Moving down. Turn on that. Gotcha. Moving down. Turn on that. Just in case you need to see anything. Moving down, turn on that. Last thing we have is our mouse. Everybody asked me about my sensitivity. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it. My DPI on my mouse is going to be set to 1450. The reason I have that is because it's the most comfortable whenever I'm browsing through Windows, as well as giving me the opportunity to have it somewhat low, somewhere in the middle really. And then I can just set my mouse sensitivity to an even 2.5. Here is going to be all the multipliers that you need to be using if you are on mouse and keyboard. I don't know what any of this is, to be fair, but airborne vehicles, you want that set to 2 because it's going to take forever for you to turn. I just want you to know. Moving on past that, we have our ADS sensitivity. I have both of these set to 0.5 because I use my whole mouse pad to flick back and forth. I'm using arm, not wrist. If you're using wrist, you're going to be much less accurate. I see people like Iceman Isaac. He uses his wrist. He's accurate. He's been doing this his whole life. If you want to learn fast, I recommend using your arm and getting used to like gaining the muscle in your arm to actually use your shoulder and your arm and stuff like that. So this is all the stuff that I use. You might find it helpful. This is everything in my settings, ladies and gentlemen. That is all of it. Now, I will say, let me see what it is. Navigate to next tab in menu navigation. The reason that I have this out is because if you're sitting there and you're using if you're pressing your use button when trying to pick your loadout up, this is going to actually mess you up and move it to the next tab of your random custom like non-custom loadouts, the default loadouts. So turn this off. I just want to make sure that you set this one specifically. Turn that off. So that's it. That is all my settings, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there's not really any other settings I think that you will need. I highly recommend that you try out practice modes to get your aim better. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel. We're working our way to 200,000. Have a great day. Peace.